Look, listen, I'm one of them girls that I don't want to have no kids. Okay, I'm 35. That ship has sailed for me, and I ain't even talking. The eggs is still moving. Okay, the flow is still flowing every month. That is not a sign for me to go and have a baby. Oh no, it's the furthest from it. I don't even want to deal with that. And you talking about I got to sit here and carry a baby, right? I got to feel it, kick and punch and move all around. Then I got to push it out. Then it's a possibility that I can rip from front to back. Okay. Then you talking about waking up in the middle of the night every night because you hungry. Shit, I'm hungry. Close your mouth. Ask your daddy. Okay. Then you talking about they got to grow up and then they talking back. And they still waking up in the middle of the night. Oh, and they don't like to wipe their ass all the way. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. And then if they grow up, and then they grow up decide to be an asshole, and that's not how I raised them, I'm the one who blamed. No. The answer is no.
You know how I know I'm not meant to have kids? Like deep in my soul, no, I am not meant to have children. Because when I'm around kids that I love, my friends' kids, my nieces and nephews, and they're all ages, like babies to teenagers, love them with all of my heart. They bring me so much joy. And I still walk away from any exchange with a child being like, I don't want it. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I walk back into my child-free life very zen and very calm. And that's how I know.
What's the point of getting married if you're not going to have kids? You would be surprised how many times I have received this question. What's interesting to me is if you ask this question, what you were telling me is that you think the only point to get married is to procreate, which means you're also telling me that you got a shitty marriage. You're telling me that you don't prioritize your bond with your partner whatsoever. You are simply in the business of breeding. I gotta ask you, if that's the case, why did you get married? You could have just gone to a sperm bank, gotten some good childcare. Can be less of a menace than having to maintain a marriage. Or if anything, you could have chosen your breeding partner, right? Someone who would produce good stock, and then just co-parent. Also, I assume that you and your partner will then be splitting up the moment all your kids are grown and moved out of the house because the whole purpose of your marriage has concluded. The breeding and the raising is done. So now you can part ways because this never had anything to do with your connection, clearly. Marriage is about two people pushing each other to be their better selves, growing and exploring together. It is about a bond between two humans. It's not just about popping out new ones and keeping the birth rate up.
Merry Christmas, and to all you parents who still get at us child-free people by choice, talking about, oh, well, it's Christmas. Well, what do you do for Christmas if you don't have family, if you don't have kids? You know what I do? You know what I did today? I saw a monkey jump from one tree to another in Trinidad, where I flew yesterday. I'm here, still here, in my hotel room. That's what the fuck I did. I ate the best Caribbean food some of the best food I've ever had of the 30 plus countries that I've been to because I chose to be child-free. That's what we do. In other news, Merry Christmas, everyone.
I cannot wait for the day when people are finally tired of wasting their time trying to convince women that they should be scared of a life where they don't have a spouse or children. This post says by 2030, an estimated 45% of women aged 25 to 44 will be single and child-free, and they are calling it the pandemic. First and foremost, I don't care who you are. If you try to pressure people into having children when they have repeatedly told you they have no interest in having children, you don't care about children. Because why would you want to subject a vulnerable child to a life where their parent or parents don't care about them? Because we see what that does. We see the product of childhood trauma in adulthood. And we see what it does to people and their social circles and their societies. Like, we should not be promoting that at all. For the people that chose to be married and have children and love it, that is wonderful. And it's wonderful because you got to choose that for yourself. For the people who have a child but want nothing to do with a partner and are happy about that, they're happy because they chose that. For the people who are in a relationship and don't want children and love it, They love it because, again, they got to choose that. And for the people who want neither of these things and find joy in their individuality, in their autonomy, in building community and connection in other ways, they also love it because they got to choose that for themselves. We got to stop trying to pressure people into doing these things that they don't want to do. It does not do anything but bring more harm than good.
I don't know who started this whole thing where child-free people don't have plans on holidays, but just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I don't have holiday plans. But also, even if I didn't have 7 nieces and nephews to go hang out with on the holidays, or siblings, or parents, or whatever, or non-related family members that I'm going to go hang out with, doesn't mean that I'm entitled to work because you didn't prepare to request off or whatever for the holiday season. That's on you. Be the week before and you being like, oh, Rachel, you don't have kids. Could you work Christmas Eve for me? No, because Christmas Eve, I'm with my family. I'm with my siblings. I'm with my nephew. Even if I wasn't, no, because I made sure I didn't work that day because I didn't want to, because it's Christmas Eve. Her ill preparedness does not qualify me as a crisis that I need to come in and work and cover your shift. And I shouldn't be the bad guy because of that. This used to happen all the time to me when I worked at a country club. All the time. It baffles me that it's still happening today. Hold on. As a parent and the parent of your household, you should know what days that you need to not work and what days that you should request off. And not last minute ask the person that doesn't have children to cover your shift because they don't have kids. They must live a lonely, sad little life. Even if I didn't have my 7 nieces and nephews, my brothers, my sisters, all of those to go hang out with, even if I didn't have that, I'd still say no. Because I wanted it off so that I could be here with my own children. They deserve their mother to be home for Christmas. They do. See?
The obsession that women with kids have towards women with no kids is actually insane. Speaking of that one woman that's going viral right now, talking about how women with no kids have so much time and live life like they're on vacation, who's going to tell her that that is quite literally the whole point? I mean, the thing is that we chose not to have kids for that reason, because we wanted to have our time to ourselves. We did not want to share the time with another human being. We did not want the responsibility of raising another human being. And we didn't also want to split our time thinking about and worrying about a whole nother human being. You made that choice. So I feel like this resentment and jealousy towards women with no kids is so misdirected, because you also had the choice to have kids or not to have kids, and you chose to have kids. So every single time I see these videos of women just ranting about how like women with no kids just don't like get life, it's like, no, we get life. We understand the responsibility that kids are. That is why we don't have them, you know, and you had the same choice and you chose to have kids. So this jealousy and resentment is so misdirected, babe. And the thing is that just because we don't have kids doesn't mean like we don't have fulfilling lives either. Some of us have goals that we're trying to achieve and generational curses that we're trying to break, which require time and effort and energy that kids would quite possibly slow down. So I don't know. And on top of that, there are women that actually don't have any plans to have kids, and that is also okay. People can have fulfilling lives without kids. But every single time I see women come onto this app, like just spewing hate towards women with no kids, to me, it just gives regretful mother. That's literally what it gives. And it almost just further confirms my decision of not having kids, because I would hate to be a regretful mother. I would hate it. I would hate it because I feel like there's no way that the children aren't feeling this resentment. There's just like no way, you know? And I do understand that when you have kids, how much time that takes and how much energy that takes, because my parents quite literally, like, their whole lives revolved around us. And I want to, when I have kids, if I do ever have kids, I want to be able to do the same for my kids. But I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not financially ready for that. I'm not energetically ready for that. And, you know, it's just not. But whenever I see, like I said, these videos, it just further confirms my decision to stay child free. But let me know what you think, because God, these videos, honestly, whenever I see them, it just makes me so sad, because I can see the frustration in these mothers' eyes, and I'm just like, damn, babe, I want to hug you, because I know how frustrating that is. But I do think that the resentment is very misdirected.
I'm sorry, but I will never understand why people choose not to have kids. Is how can you not want a child? Having kids will be the best freaking thing you can do in life.
Yes, if you want them.
It actually bothers me when there's couples like, oh, we're not having kids, or not right now. We're gonna do this instead of have kids. And it's like, what the fuck else are you doing with your life?
It bothers you? Judging by your own TikToks about motherhood, which we'll visit in a second, you don't have the time or capacity to be bothered by someone else's life choices.
Your career will always be there.
I think if you talk to other moms, especially those who were stay-at-home moms for a couple of years, you'll find that their careers were actually not there once their kids reached school age, and they had to start all over. And some careers just don't allow you to do that, and you have to choose something else.
What else are you doing that is that much more important than bringing children, starting a family, and having children?
Staying alive, because I truly believed that I would take my own life if I were forced to be a parent. I could not take the overstimulation. But now let's visit her own TikToks about parenting.
Just have the child, have the children. You will not regret it.
Except she herself said you could regret having kids right here.
Is having kids worth it? At the end of the day, goddamn, it's a hard question. If I were to have one of those kids, something come wrong with them, I know it's so bad to say, it's so bad to say, I don't think having kids would be worth it.
She also said in another video that it was unfortunate that certain people were born.
Do you forget you were once a fucking baby? You were once a kid? Someone said, I want to have a kid and had your ass? Yeah, unfortunately.
Then we have this rant that does not sell momming very well.
I've been a mom now for 6 years, okay? It's the most fucked up thing ever. Like, I'm trying to even put it to a word. Almost like dehumanizing job. Not even job, dehumanizing experience. It is so unrewarding, too. No one cares. I try so hard to find time to do stuff for me. I literally can't even, like, fall back on my husband and their dad. I can't. This shit wears you fucking down. It wears you down because you look at yourself and you're like, who the fuck am I? Like, constantly a fucking mess. I'm constantly a fucking mess. Like, there's literally no fucking time, not even 5 minutes to just set aside to be like, let's take care of me. It's a fucking shit show.
And not showing momming in a great light are these other TikToks. In the first video we covered, she assures us that traveling with kids can still happen, but she doesn't look too thrilled to be doing that. Then we have the glory of a child-free day, which is just child-free people's everyday. Another one where she celebrates not having her kids around. When you just finished a 13-hour solo parenting day and realize you have to wake up and do it all again tomorrow. Help. And finally, this glowing example of how wonderful motherhood is.
Spend a 13-hour day with me as a mom of two working from home. It's mentally stressful, and I want to kind of sometimes, just end it all at the end of the day.
So I have this one aunt that every year she tries to challenge my decision to be child free. And this year she asked me, but who will take care of you when you're old? And I said, probably all the young, hot professionals that I'll be able to afford to hire, because I'll be filthy ass rich with all the time that I'll have that I'm not spending on raising and rearing children.